All right, hello and welcome to another edition of the Rithmm Rundown with myself, Josh Applebaum, my partner in crime, sharpest guy I know, Mr. Ohio over there, Mr. Cade Harper. So again, Cade, we got more Major League Baseball to get down on. You know, you and I, we've done it all. We started way back in the fall doing college football, NFL. We went through March Madness, of course. Once again, you find a way to get a futures ticket to possibly hedge in both championship games for college football and college hoops. But now it's the spring. So I know the Masters were huge. People are getting into golf. WNBA is not far off here, Cade. Obviously, we have the playoffs coming up. So NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, Rithmm, of course. One of the earliest models for Rithmm, other than NFL, Cade, I believe was NBA. So NBA, obviously, huge sport. You and I were joking a little bit earlier. NBA, as a fan, not my favorite. I'm a Celtics fan, just born and raised in New England. The product isn't the greatest to sweat. The fouling, again, don't get me going on load management, Cade, when you're breaking down a game. All this is why I really haven't, other than following, any Rithmm recommendation like Green Star or Smart Signals. I'll play those, but how many times do you? And again, at some point, I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. Break down a game all day, look at all the numbers, track the market, the splits, the system matches, and then Gilgis Alexander is out or somebody's questionable and is out, and then the line flips. And it's like, how do you bet a sport when you don't know which players are playing and which players are not? And then you get into fouling, all this crazy stuff. So to me, NBA, it's really at the lower end of my totem pole. But with that being said, even if you don't love a sport, the beauty of Rithmm is that we're going to give you that edge. We're going to provide you an AI backed edge or an advantage over the book based on what the numbers are telling. So we will get into a little bit of NBA postseason, which you've already had some play-in games already. Actually, ironically enough, I'm talking about how much I hate the NBA here, Cade. But yesterday, if you look at some of the line moves, you saw, I think the Sixers, they were like -1 up to 1.5. They ended up winning the night before. The Trailblazers were a little bit sharp. I think they were 3.5 down to like 2.5. So a couple of sharp moves actually did come through. But I think you got to pick your spots in the NBA because it's difficult when you don't know who's going to play. All that being said, it is a little bit of a sleepy Thursday here, Cade. There's a bunch of day games that have already gone complete, but we do have three games here for tonight in Major League Baseball. I have one bet that I want to hit on. I have some overarching numbers on dogs and favorites so far in MLB. And I heard a little rumor that you got some sharp player props for us to talk about here tonight. So I'll throw it to you, my man. Happy Thirsty Thursday. How you doing? How you feeling? And update me on your betting life. What's been going on recently?
Oh, doing good, first of all, obviously. Yeah, it was Masters week. It was a great week for that. I know I like to bet on golf a lot. I don't know if any of you guys obviously knew that, but today, even especially, I have more. I have more golf bets than I did at MLB. If that tells you anything, I just didn't like the slate that much, so I had to pretty much like dig just to find something to pretty much ramble on about. Which obviously we did, which is why we're going live. But yeah, it was just funny to note. Like I had nothing looking at it initially this morning, but nonetheless, watched the Reds lose today, so that was bad. Watched the benches clear there. That was a good time. Other than that, we're here. Yeah, weather, beautiful. Almost like that into summer, not too hot, not too cold. It's like the perfect, like I'm a high 60s guy. So like right now, like this low 70s, like I'm feeling this right now. So if this could just stay like that for a decent amount of time, we're good.
I'm right there with you, man. Yeah, mid 60s, perfect for me. Cade, my wife is from San Diego, so it gets to be 90, and she's loving it.
Oof.
And I'm like, I do not like this at all.
No.
So it's an eternal battle in our house over the thermostat. But as you mentioned, I wanted to just pick your brain a little bit on golf because I must admit I'm not a huge golf bettor. That being said, Rithmm does have these great models and the AI caddy that to take advantage of. I'll just share my screen here so we can kind of pop open Rithmm and start to look at the homepage and get a feel for some of the system matches tonight. But I did bet a little bit. I remember during COVID, Cade, when like there wasn't a lot going on and golf was one of the only sports that seemed to be in session. It was really just like UFC, NASCAR. Again, no one wants to remember the COVID days. Let's all pretend they never happened. But it was golf, NASCAR, and UFC. And I got a little bit into golf. And from what I remember, and a lot of talking to other sharp bettors that I know, like that I work with at VSiN, they would always tell me, like, don't bet on the guy to win the whole thing. but bet on like, will he finish top 10? Will they be in the top 20? Head to heads, over unders. Like, is that true? Or in your experience, like if I'm a average Joe on the street, a drunk guy at the bar who says, yeah, you bet golf. How do I bet golf, Cade? How do you answer that? What's your edge in golf?
It's hard to answer because I feel like it changes almost every other year. A lot of it, and this is honestly kind of contradicting to myself because at some points it feels almost like a luck thing. Pick four guys out of like your top five list, and then there's your winner pretty much. Like it kind of feels like that. There's data, there's so much data that goes behind it. But I mean, really, I think data will mainly come into play for like placements, which is where I like to thrive. So like value on top fives instead of winners, value on top tens. Placements like those is where you're going to find a lot of plus money plays, which is what I love. Golf is like nothing but long shots. Like minimalist. Me, I don't really take a lot of outrights. I've hit a couple in my lifetime, but it's not necessarily something that I strive for. Nonetheless, I'm still probably winning just over 50% just off of placements if I had to guess. The only reason that's probably not over 50% is probably because of my outrights. Like golf is not a sport where your record's supposed to be something astronomically good and then your profit on top of that. No, it's like maybe 20 wins, 50 losses, but you're up like 3 units as a whole or something like that. That's just like a profitable from a value standpoint. It's just strictly a value sport. That's where you have to find your edges in the data, whether that's like putting standpoint. I mean, like people dig so deep into the trends like on types of grass that they're playing on. And it has an effect. It's real. It's a real thing. As a golfer, it's a very real thing. But this week, for example, I mean, like a lot of people like the same people as last week, and it's rightfully so. Like I've seen a lot of people on Cantlay. I've seen a lot of people on Spieth. I've seen a lot of people on Cam Young again, who was a really, really, really heavy guy for the Masters last week, myself included. Who probably should have won if it wasn't for his first round. It's okay though. No, but like this week it's so straightforward. It's an easy open course where you're going to see super, super high scores or technically low scores if you're whatever you want to get technical with it. But yeah, like it's so much data that you can go into it with, and I like using Rithmm to an aspect of it just because a lot of like it's people that have it to win. You can always bet them top 5 or top 10, pretty much not double down, but you can also just find maybe little bit of a better value play aspect on betting them top 5 rather than just to win the whole thing. It might just a tad safer for a not similar price, but good enough to suffice.
Yeah, I think it was a great explainer by you, Cade. And ironically enough, I click golf on the Rithmm app, and look at this sharp looking man right here, Mister Adam Rosenberg, one of the sharpest guys we know. But great video if you just want to get a little bit of an explainer here. And then we also have the AI caddy, which is really cool. That's something that I think is kind of revolutionary. And really, the idea here is that if you want to bet an outright, and again, I'm no golf expert, but my understanding here, Cade, is this is like live betting. This is like betting quarters. This is like betting possessions. This is almost micro betting.
Yeah.
Just the next hole. What will happen? Will this guy Ludwig Aberg on the next hole? What's he going to get? Here's the chances. You look at what his simulated is versus the field average. So if he's like more likely to birdie than the average, then maybe in this next hole you should think about betting him to birdie, and you can look at the prices and hopefully take advantage of that. So again, I'm not a huge golf guy. I must admit, like my style of betting, Cade, my wheelhouse is like, give me the whole betting market in terms of the line movement, the bet splits. You don't really get that or system matches when it comes to golf. So it's a totally different style of betting. Like if you're betting, the Masters, yeah, I get really good emails from my buddy John Ewing at BetMGM. He'll give me the percentage of bets in dollars on Rory to win, or the money coming in on this guy or that guy. But it's not like the Red Sox are playing the Yankees. The Red Sox open at minus 120. Now they're minus 130. They're getting 40% bets, 80% money. They're a divisional favorite, yada, yada. You don't have that. So I think as a bettor, we always want to be the most well-rounded we can be, which means, yeah, I want to be a winning bettor at every sport. But I think sometimes in your head, you got to be like, okay, my wheelhouse is A, B, C, and D. this may not be what I'm familiar with. And I'm not saying you have to like be a golfer. You don't have to grow up playing golf. But you have to have an understanding of the golf market and how it works. And that's why, to me, if I'm betting golf, I'm really leaning on Rithmm because I don't really have that institutional knowledge for betting golf. So just want to mention that all that is always available to you with the Rithmm Golf tab. With that being said, Cade, I want to get into some Major League Baseball. I have a couple numbers for you because I'm always one of those nerdy people that like wants to see overarching. I use Bet Labs, which is a really cool database. I know you do too, to just get updates on what's transpiring so far in the league because I want an understanding of, okay, how are dogs and favorites doing? How are overs and unders doing? You would assume like NFL year after year, dogs are killing it. Unders are doing well, but then there were the last couple of years where it flipped and favorites and overs are doing well. So you just want to have a finger on the pulse of the market in terms of, what's really cashing right now. So I did pull up the updated numbers. I know it's only, April 16th here. It's still very early in the year. But so far, Cade, if you've been betting dogs in baseball, and again, year after year, this has kind of been the go-to angle, you've done pretty well. Now, dogs so far this year are only 129 and 149. They're only winning 46.4% of the time. But remember, 46.4% in a spread sport, minus 110 juice, you're a big loser. You're way under. 46.4% in a money line sport where you're getting plus 120, plus 150, plus 190. You're actually up 6% ROI, about 16 units. So betting every dog, not saying you would do this or want to do this because that's a huge volume that, scares you a bit. You're not making 300 bets already, and it's only April 16th. But it just goes to show you that if you're the type of bettor who likes to bet favorites and you're worried that these dogs aren't going to bark, because we have seen that, last couple of years, I would say. We just went through the March Madness where favorites crushed it. Don't be afraid to bet dogs in MLB. Again, they're not going to win all the time, but it is worth your while because you're only going to win 46%, but because of the plus money, you're actually making money. Cade, we layer it in a couple other angles here. You isolate just home dogs at home. You're at home, you're getting plus money. Those teams are 51 and 43 this year, 54.3%, 18% ROI. You're up 17 units. So again, at home, you get the last at bat, you got the crowd, you're getting plus money. That's been a good angle this year. And then another great angle has been dogs off a win. So if you're a dog today and you won yesterday, you're getting plus money today. You're carrying in that momentum theoretically to the next game. Those teams are 65 and 62, 51.2%, 13% ROI, 16.5 units. So all those angles, dogs, home dogs, dogs off a win. Of course, no one had a crystal ball. No one, I'm giving you this after it happened, which some people are like, how does that benefit me now? Which I understand, but it just goes to show you that these are the angles that have cashed so far. Doesn't guarantee they'll continue to cash, but it goes to show you that early in the year, we have seen some unpredictability and these dogs have barked pretty loudly. Now, that being said, Cade, I do have a dog for you. So if we go to our games here for tonight and we scroll down to the Mariners-Padres game. Now, I must admit to you, Cade, I am still screaming at the top of my lungs for Jackson Merrill and the Padres from last night because I had him. I said, well, that's a loss. Down 6-0. Hancock for Seattle is pitching a gem. And I was watching my other game, so I was sweating the Athletics. They came through, luckily. But I'm like, okay, I know Padres are probably going to lose, but, let's just see what the score is. I put it on, Cade. Again, I paid the $150 a month to get MLB TV. I'll give you my login if you want it, if they allow it, and don't kick us both out, Cade. But it was a 6-4 game, bottom of the ninth, 2 outs. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Last I looked, it was 6-0. Unbelievably, Jackson Merrill, bases clearing opposite field. Don Orsillo goes nuts. Incredible win. Padres just unbelievable there. I'm thinking about going right back to the well here tonight and taking the Padres again, Cade. Now, it's not the perfect play for me. If we set this game up, Pods have been great, 12-6 overall. Mariners struggling a bit, 8-11 after they had that great year last year. Pitching matchup, Luis Castillo, 0-0, but a 6.92 ERA. He's a good pitcher. That's probably just a bit of an aberration, a tough start. Walker Buehler was with the Sox, the Phillies, signed a minor league deal with the Padres, 0-1, 4.97 ERA. But here's what I'm thinking is the angle to go back to the well with the Padres. One, it's kind of gambler's fallacy. Gambler's fallacy is basically, you know, there's no way the Mariners can get swept. Yeah, they got a losing record. They lost the first two, lost the heartbreaker. They have to win tonight because Mariners are a pretty good team and they're not going to get swept. They're going to win one out of three. The gambler's fallacy is like you go to the roulette table, it lands on black 10 times in a row. It's got to be red the next time because it was black the last time. You don't really want to bet that way because this is due or this team is due. You're injecting your bias when theoretically every game is an individual game. It doesn't really matter what happened the previous game. It's this game tonight. Public is leaning toward the Mariners in this spot. Now I must admit, Cade, the line did move a little bit towards Seattle. I think they were like minus 110, minus 115, up to around minus 120. So Public's going Seattle. The line's moving towards Seattle, but I'm okay with that. I'm gonna grab some plus money here if you can find it with the Padres because if you look across the board, they're only getting about 40% of money line bets at DraftKings, but nearly 50% of the money. They are a dog high total correlative betting play, total of 8.5. So more expected run score, more variance benefits the dog. They have the better offense. They're hitting 236. They've scored 85 runs. Mariners only hitting 209, scoring 76 runs. In home versus road, I mean, I've gone to Padres games last few years because again, my wife's from San Diego, so we always try to catch a game. The vibes, as the kids say, Cade, you want to take your girl to San Diego one day, go to a Pods game. The vibes are immaculate. Incredible Mexican food. They got like concerts and stuff in center field.
Beautiful park.
Perfect weather. Too. It's beautiful park. And they're great at home. They're 8-4 so far at home this year. Seattle is just 1-7 on the road. And again, how many times the magic in San Diego, this team coming back, walk-offs, that's not a data-driven analysis, but doesn't hurt that this team has a knack for coming back and winning. Value play to me is taking the Padres. And if we go to these Rithmm recommendations, every single one I have, Kate, is lit up on the Pods. You can get plus 1.5, minus 166. That's your spread. A little pricey, but again, they lose by one. You cover that number. I'm interested in the money line, Cade. All three recommendations on the Pods. First Rithmm house model basically has Padres 4.6 to 4.5. Slight winner there, even though you're a dog. I love this. My Josh model that I created has the Padres 4.4 to 4. Obviously, there's no integers, point whatever in baseball, but it's just going to show you the model has Padres winning this game. And that is a smart signal, detected play. So based on the parameters of the conditions of this game, this is a 62% hit rate on the Padres. Last model here, also San Diego with a slight winner. So it's not a perfect play for me, Cade. Like, it's not like the steam is on the Padres and they have this incredible bet split, but I think it's just a buy low value play. And when you're playing baseball, you're getting a good team at home, little plus money, and Rithmm is behind you. That's a play I'm willing to make. So I'm going to ride the Pods here tonight. Last thing would be shop around. Can you get a plus 105 at the score, close to plus 111 at Poly Market? I'll take a little plus money here and go San Diego. But I'll throw it to you, my man. What are you thinking, or any bets here on Mariners Pods?
Yeah. Let me see. Well, first I'll ride Pods with you. Doing a little digging on the side, just to find some reasoning, I guess, was Castillo hasn't necessarily been the hottest guy in the league right now. He got absolutely shelled like in his last outing. I think that was at home though. Yeah, okay. It was at home. Let me see. Honestly, this is more of like a Walker Buehler kind of backing play in a way, just because I like his stuff plus a lot. And again, I mean, Buehler hasn't necessarily been, again, very much better, but I think there's advantages that the Padres have on the offensive side, as well as like a little bit of a better defensive side. And you can argue, honestly, base running as well, if you really want to get down to the nitty gritty part of it. For the value aspect of it, I mean, getting them at plus money, again, like you said, at home feels kind of like a gift. Let me see. I mean, yeah, both of my Rithmm models as well. I think one of them had a caution flag. Yeah, both of them have a caution, but nonetheless, I mean, I still think they're both still on the Padres, but they're both cautions. One of them is smart signal on +1.5. But then again, like I said, it's projecting them outright. So I'm just gonna, slug it out, play a full game, send it.
I'm right there with you. And I was looking too, Cade, at the total in this one. Kind of got it all over the place. We have one model on the over 8.5 predicted 9.1. Other two models here are under 8.5, 8.4, not big of an edge, 8.9 as well. Total, I mean, you always think about the weather. The weather's always great there. Almost never rains and it's like 70 degrees. And this line did tick up a little bit. Some looks for 8, now up to 8.5. If you look at the bet splits for this game and you kind of just see how the betting market is reacting to this game right now at DraftKings, 62% bets, 74% dollars are on the over. Over at Circa, you got another sharp split here, about 75% bets, 90% dollars on the over, and this line ticked up a bit. Again, it's going to be a nice night. You do have wind blowing out to right field, about 68 degrees, 7 to 10 mile per hour winds blowing out. You got anything on this total? Because I'm leaning a little bit toward the over. I mean, it seems obvious, a guy with an ERA of 5 and a guy with an ERA of 7. And, last night, what was that? A 7-6 game. So just play the over, but it did tick up again. It was, it was basically 7.5 up to 8.5. What do you think? I don't think there's any 8s available anymore, but any value there to the over, Cade, that from your end?
I would look into the over. Absolutely. It's a team like, as far as advantages go, I mean, right down the line. Bogarts is the guy that I'm seeing hyped up here. Luke Rayleigh's another guy. Tatis is always a very good look as well. I mean, you have the potential bats with Julio, Cal Raleigh, Randy. Like you go literally down the line. I mean, there's big bats all over these lineups and that have potential to make noise whenever they want. Not necessarily from like a luck standpoint, just from like a data driven like statcast. I mean, like the numbers are there. These guys have hit very well and under their home diamond and their home stadium and their home environment, whatever you want to call it. They're reliable to put up runs. I mean, they've done it. Mariners, on the other hand, I mean, slightly kind of chugging behind. I know Raleigh kind of have a sluggish start, but can you rely on the guy to get on base a couple of times? Maybe bring in a couple runs, whatever it is, like an RBI look or something like that on a prop. I mean, whatever it is, might not look at him directly, but Julio, Randy, I'd absolutely look into them. Those two guys would probably be my favorite, I guess, on that side of the team. But yeah, Padres, I'm not worried about on offense at all. I think it's absolutely there.
I'm right there with you. I want to get into some of these player props because we got a lot lit up here offensively.
Oh, wow.
But we got to say hi to our guy Andy F. Now let's find some winners. Amen, brother. Good to see you, Andy. I want to throw this one at you, Cade, though. Mr. Big Bird, mind showing caution, still take it. So this is a question we get all the time. So I'm assuming Big Bird basically has Mariners caution flag. My first question to you, Big Bird, would be, do you only have one model? If your only one model is caution, again, to me, caution means it's like when you're going through you're driving and, me and my wife always get in an argument here, Cade, like you're driving, it's green, it turns orange and you're close to the light. Like, do you go through it? Do you proceed with caution? Do you immediately get on your brakes? It kind of becomes a judgment call, like whether you can make the light and not be dangerous toward other people. So I think it's a bit of a personal preference. Like if your only approach to betting is following Rithmm, maybe if it's caution flag, I lay off. But if Big Bird, you do your own research and your style of betting, whether you're a wise guy like Cade, you set your own numbers and you have an edge on the Padres here. They're plus 105 and you think your numbers say they should be minus 115 and it's a caution. Okay, maybe you let it ride. Or maybe some of the things that I gave you, they're contrarian. They're a dog high total. They got the better offense, home road splits. I just gave you some of these angles here. Dogs, 6% ROI this year. Home dogs, 18% ROI. Dog off a win, 51%, 13% ROI. All those systems are lighting up there on the Padres. So again, it becomes a bit of a intuition, gut, whatever you want to call it. But I would also say, Big Bird, like, if you're on the Rithmm the account where you can get multiple systems. Get the Rithmm House model, create a couple of your own. That's what I really like when I have multiple systems all lighting up on the same side. So I don't know if that helped. And Big Bird said, "This is why we love them." Just had questions. I'm still riding with you guys regardless. That's why we love you.
Great answer.
But Cade, how do you approach that when you have caution flags? Is it okay, let me defer to the other info I have on the game, or is it better to be safe than sorry, lay off, that kind of thing?
I mean, I can go to mine real fast. I mean, just to kind of pinpoint it, I'll go on run line and top model, which is the house, has Padres plus 1.5, win chance, blah, 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 60+%. Caution flag projects the Padres minus 0.2. Projects them outright, I should just say. We'll leave it at that. Next one that I've created, Padres plus 1.5, smart signal, 65% win chance, projects them almost a whole run ahead. If I go to the money line, pretty much the same projections, win chances or win probabilities, whatever you want to call it, dumbed down to roughly just over 50%, which is still an edge in my opinion as well. Caution flag on one money line, green star on the other. That right there pretty much signifies that it likes the Padres as a whole, which is a queen sweep for me. So that's pretty much like step one. I like it all the way around just because it's pretty much made up its mind, just not in the same way as the other system has. Perfectly fine. I think it's still a reasonable bet to make, especially if you have not one, but two smart signals on yours for a fact. I mean, mine only has one, but that's the beauty of it. I mean, I think that like just having multiple models, like you were saying, is definitely a much bigger edge than one, just because you can kind of gauge off of multiple. I mean, that's why we track multiple different models. That way you can rely on some for maybe money lines, run totals, whatever. You can rely on the other one for totals and just strictly sides, whatever you want to do with it. Like I said, that's the beauty of it. But yeah, in this case scenario where it's a clean sweep on the pods, I would pretty much, I don't want to say ditch or not ditch. I don't know what the word I'd be looking for. You can make up your mind up pretty easily in that kind of sense when it's all lit up on one side.
Amen. I'm right there with you. And Jeff Corrales, what side are you guys from Winners Pods? Going with the pods here, taking a shot. Again, I'm going to quantify by saying not a perfect play because the line did go up a little bit there towards Seattle. But this would, to me, be not maybe the sharp play, but the value play based on good team plus money at home with all Rithmm recommendations lining up on the same side. So let's go dads. Let's get a couple winners here for the fathers. Let me ask you about player props, Cade, because to me, this is a game where maybe you look at some overs. It's great weather. The total rose 7.5 up to 8.5. I gave you the bet splits a second ago that are pretty sharp at both DraftKings and Circa to the over. So, man, sounds good to me. Like you got some offense here. In that vein, who should we bet on? I'm going to go through some of these numbers, Kate. I know you were talking about Bogarts and a few of these other guys. The first one that lit up for me, ironically enough, was an under. So Brendan Donovan, who the Mariners traded for from the Cardinals, under a hit is a bit of a value play, sharp play here. The other angle that I was looking at, if you're looking for some pop, I guess we'll go to the smart signals, but total bases. A few of these that jumped up were Cal Raleigh. This is like an epic contrarian play because we all remember Raleigh hitting homers, being insane. What are his numbers here, Kay? Because he's really struggled.
Bad.
I was gonna say bad. He is hitting a $151, 2 homers, 10 RBIs, 515 OPS. So obviously he's here to start the year. So you would assume vast majority of people in the betting market, casual recreational bettors, they're going Raleigh under, or sorry, they're going easily over 1.5 bases. Contrarian play to go under. And also, why is it under minus 147, Cade? Like, think of how expensive, like, does that seem expensive to go under? That seems fishy toward maybe he goes 0 for 4 tonight or something like that. The other one that lit up was Jackson Merrill under 1.5, Tatis under 1.5. You got a lot of these unders, which, again, you're like, oh, that ain't fun. I want to root for offense. We got to remember, you typically going the other way. Public loves betting the over. A lot of times sharps are on these unders. A couple singles lit up here. Donovan under, as we mentioned. Rodriguez under. I mean, you got a ton of them here lighting up. Bogarts under a half single. He's been really good though, I must say. So that'll be a tough one to sweat. Pitcher strikeouts. Castillo under 4.5. Now this one was interesting to me, Cade. I don't know if you have an angle on Castillo because he's right on the number, but the model is projecting value here on the under, especially at a basically an even plus 100. I was reading a little bit earlier some research how I want to say the Padres are like top 10 in fewest strikeouts per game. And Castillo, again, has been getting lit up here a little bit. And if you look at his last couple starts, I know he's only made like 3 starts overall. But if you go to his box scores and you go to his game log, he had 7 Ks in the opener against the Yankees. He had 4 in his second game against the Angels. He had 3 against Houston. So if you're giving me plus money against a team that doesn't strike out a lot, at you can still strike out 4 guys and cash this under. I kind of like this Castillo under 4.5, especially since it's a green star play. Any thoughts on this one, Cade, or any other player prop for Pods Mariners that jumps out to you?
My projections might be just off, but like the software that I kind of like to rely on for props a lot of the times to pair with Rithmm projects Castillo at 5 strikeouts, but it also just likes a lot of Padre hitters to get like a lot of just on base opportunities. I'll just leave it at that. So kind of contradicting in itself, like just like one side's yes, one side's no. So in that kind of case, I kind of like to stay off personally. Nonetheless, it seems like a decent value shot to take the under personally. But yeah, it's literally one number higher. I mean, I'm projecting literally just 5 flat. With like a little bit, it's saying that there's an edge on it, but like I said, I don't know if I really believe it that much, especially when it's all on the Padres hitters tonight. So that would be a stay away for me personally, but I think it's a good look, honestly.
Well, what are you looking at for offensive guys? Anyone that we can hopefully overlap with? Because I always try to get the market to marry with Rithmm. You're trying to get your numbers to marry with what Rithmm is providing or projecting, and then also, how do you find the edge here? You have all these different stat categories. Baseball is such a stat heavy driven sport. If you're looking at Bogarts to have a good night tonight, does that mean you go over bases, you go over hits, you go over RBIs? Like, how do you identify the player you want to bet on? And then how do you figure out which category you want? Like, it's almost like, a running back in football. Do I want to go over his rushing, over his attempts, anytime touchdown? Like, you have different options, different ways to bet on a player to do positively or negatively. But you gotta be smart enough to know which category you're going to look at.
Hard to say. I think a lot of it is like barrel rate, expected batting average, like a hard hit rate. Granted, those are different categories. Ground ball rate is a really big one. I've gotten into this a lot, especially with Adam, because Adam is like a big like hitters guy from like a singles standpoint, which I love. I just got into them. Probably the funnest new like strategy I've ever found in my entire life. It's so fun to bet on these kind of stuff. I mean, I'll throw one in there tonight just to sweat it. But yeah, like combining like ground ball rate versus like a hard hit rate, barrel rate, like fly ball rate, stuff like that. Naturally, if a dude's hitting more fly balls, it's not going to necessarily be a single. You're thinking extra base hits, you're thinking pop outs, or stuff like that. It's not, it's not little bloopers, whatever. Ground ball rate, I mean, at the same time, you're looking to just find the gaps in between the infielders, which is just beautiful. So little stuff like that kind of deteriorates or kind of depicts on which category I like to look into personally. Obviously, barrel rate, hard hit rate, extra base hits, home runs, into that standpoint, bases, if you will. RBIs kind of play into the same category as well. Like hits, runs, RBIs is a good category to get into if you're new to prop betting in baseball. It's a really fun one on hitters. RBIs by itself is super hard just because the value is so shot up. So I like to combine those with the hits and the runs because it kind of gets the price a little bit dimmed down. You're either always at the over 1.5 range, unless if you're betting on an Ohtani over or a Freddie over for some weird reason, and it's over 2.5 on those, which is ridiculous. But I don't really get into it too much. Like I said, I'm kind of new into the category betting style. I used to just strictly be home runs and bases, but like I said, Uncle Adam's got me on the singles, and I think I love the single train. Single trains are fun. Rhythm had one that I liked, and that was Julio tonight. So I actually did. I took that one. Because actually it's funny. I actually liked him for a home run tonight, so it makes perfect sense to like him to not hit a single anyways, because his hard hit rate and like his fly ball rate is actually really good. So kind of using like one bet to kind of make another one in a way, I guess you can kind of put it. But yeah, very weird, but like I said, super, super fun.
Well, he did get robbed. Was it last night or 2 nights ago? I remember he hit a deep one to
Yeah.
center, and Jackson Merrill robbed him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so imagine how annoyed you have to be anytime homer and that you get robbed like that. I remember Joe Adell the other night, 3 in a row he robbed on any of those. So that's baseball for you. That's brutal. But did I hear you say you like the Julio Rodriguez under a half single or over?
Yeah. Yeah, I did.
Under?
I did take the under. I backed Rhythm with the under there.
Excellent. So there we go. That I was looking for an overlap. Here we go. So under a half single, basically he's got to have zero singles tonight. Hits a double, that's fine. That's not a single, so that's all you worry about. But Rithmm is predicting 0.68 singles, which theoretically is less than one, I guess you could say. Smart signal detected, 14% distance to market. All the parameters here lighting up on the Rodriguez under. So makes a ton of sense. Looking at an angle here too at plus 102. So again, the way I look at a lot of these props, Kate, it's like, do you want this guy to not get a hit for minus 250? Like in one direction, you're like, okay, it's unlikely to happen. That's why it's so expensive. But how are you ever going to make any money all season long if you're just betting minus 250s? So sometimes you get in the thought process of, okay, I'm getting a little bit of plus money. You can get plus 102 at DK. You're basically even money at the score, minus 103 Caesars. That makes some sense to me. So hopefully you can get this under a half single. So 0 singles. That's what we're looking for. And Rithmm backs you up on this one. Kate, any other games, any other props that catch your eye? I mean, the only other game, we might as well just hit on it real quick. Colorado, Houston. Full disclosure, I did not bet this game. I did notice this line dropped a little bit away from Houston toward Colorado. Colorado, again, off to another rough start. I must admit, I took their over 55.5 wins, Cade, and I was like feeling pretty good about it. It was just kind of a contrarian play. I think Fangraphs had them closer to like 60. But they've kind of fallen on hard times here again. They are now on the season 6-12. Houston hasn't been much better, though. They're 8-11. And if you look at the way the betting market has moved, I mean, I would have to think there's a little bit of value here to take the plus money with Colorado. I mean, they're only getting 18% of money line bets, 82%. Everybody and their mother is on Astros tonight. Now, Colorado's terrible. It may not matter. Let's go to see what Rithmm is predicting for this game. If we look at here we go. All three models are Astros. All are Astros minus 1.5. So that's another tough one for me because everyone's on Astros and the line did dip. Astros are minus 190, minus 180 down to minus 160. But Rithmm is actually saying buy low on Astros, and you can get some plus money on the minus 1.5 plus 124. Anything on this one, Cade? Or is this a layoff because it's a big number and two teams that aren't playing very well recently?
I probably will be laying off, but for the sake of the show, just to throw something out there for you guys, because it'd be kind of criminal for us to, watch and not only have like one bet confirmed for both of us. So I'll throw in and take a chance on a first 5 under personally, which I know Rithmm doesn't necessarily offer, but we can kind of get somewhere a little bit close because it has a smart signal on the full game under, which is totally fine.
There we
go. Close enough though. No, I like let me see. I like Ryan Weiss a lot, actually. I think Rithmm had his under. I kind of really liked his over personally, just because the data was there for the Rockies, in my opinion. But yeah, like you said, I think there's value in Rockies, whether that's first 5 money line, whether that's like first 5 spread is a really good look, just because a lot of these times, guys, like you don't have to bet like money lines on like every single baseball game. You know what I mean? Like especially these super high juiced ones. I mean, you go to first 5 and plus 0.5. So hard to explain, but essentially meaning that if the Rockies and the Astros are tied by the end of the first 5 innings, or they're leading, you win that bet. Rather than playing Rockies first 5 money line, whether it like they tie at the end of the first 5, it pushes, or whatever. If they win, they win the first 5. But it is what it is. First 5 is minus 105. Kind of like that one, to be honest, but I just felt safer playing the under. The only other reason that I kind of felt backing up a little bit was Rocky's bullpen might get touched a bit by guys like Jordan, Christian Walker are really highlighted on my board. Haney Graffs loved Jordan tonight. It's probably one of the more contrarian plays on the board, if I had to say so myself, but Rithmm had his overruns close enough to a home run. But I'm taking Jordan home run tonight. I'm going to take Christian Walker home run tonight. But as far as like in this game goes, just I think we could play. I think we could play in like a full game, maybe a full game under. I don't know. I'm going to stick with the F5 under personally. If you want to play the full game and follow the smart signal, go for it. I just can't back a Rockies bullpen right now, personally. It seems a little sketch in my opinion. But yeah, like that would be my 3 looks in this game if I had anything at all.
No, that makes sense. The first 5's obviously available to you. What I do like about the full game, though, Cade, is it's 8.5, and it's pretty much stayed 8.5, even though this is one of the most popular over bets of the night because the public just says Colorado stinks. They're going to get lit up. Houston's going to hang 10 on them on their own. Doesn't even matter if the Rockies score at all. So anytime you get, and I'm seeing right now, 82% of bets are on the over at DraftKings. You get heavy betting like that on the over. The line really doesn't move at all. Again, they'll juice it up a little bit. So under 8.5 is a little reduced juice, minus 105. The over 8.5 is like minus 115, minus 120. But that goes to show you, despite all this heavy public betting pounding the over, they don't really want to go to 9. And why don't they? Because it would give a contrarian under 9 opportunity for bettors to go against the grain. And this is a smart signal. Again, you worry with the Rockies pitching that this thing's going to get out of hand with all the great hitters there for Houston, but it is a smart signal detected, 64% hit rate toward this under, which is super contrarian. So I can get behind that. It is a dome, closed roof stadium. I don't know if the roof is open or not, but if it's closed or, typically indoors, the ball doesn't travel as much. So that could be in your favor here a little bit. Let me ask you about any props here you mentioned, because again, if we're looking for possibly some runs, we don't want them if we're looking for the full first 5 in full game. But any player props catch your eye here, Cade, because we got a few lit up. One that jumped out was Tyler Freeman under a half hit, so he cannot get a hit, plus 188. That's a pretty good payout there. And if you look at some of these other guys, the one smart signal for singles, we scroll down, was Taylor Trammell to get a single, plus 176, smart signal. That's one you probably wouldn't think about, but that's a pretty good angle there to take a shot. Maybe you put a quarter unit, something like that, small amount, so you can get a big plus money payout. Any of your internal numbers lighting up on player props here, Cade? I know you mentioned Alvarez, Christian Walker. I think you said home runs, but any others that you're thinking about?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a Green Star home run bet. That'll be that'll be amazing to
like
see
impossible,
one day.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Unless it's Barry Bonds in 2006
steroid era,
whenever that was.
Yeah, I did. I took Walker, took Jordan. Kind of looking into Hunter Goodman. I don't think Rithmm liked that one, so I might stay away from that one. But Brendan Doyle actually popped up really good on bases on Rithmm. Caution flag, but had the over. It was 0.5 actually, which I thought was kind of crazy. Just minus 130 on the score. So I might be playing a little dabble on that one. I think I had something on him.
Makes sense.
Data's there. Yeah, I think it would be worth looking at it. But yeah, other than those 3 batters specifically, I think that would be
Yeah, makes sense. Weiss is lighting up, starting pitcher for Houston, under 4.5, predicted 4.3. Not a big edge, but that would be a recommended green star play. So something to keep an eye out for. Cade, just wanted to quickly, because probably going to wrap this up pretty soon. Just look at the NBA. Again, I spent the first 10 minutes of the show talking about how much I hate the NBA, but when there's not much else on and NBA is staring me in the face, Cade, I'll probably fall into the trap of having to bet NBA, but I got Rithmm, so hopefully that will benefit me. If we look at, let's see, I know on the homepage we had something lit up for it. Where is that? Maybe it is under the player props. Rebounds and assists for the Hornets and the Magic. That game is coming up tomorrow, 7:30. That was lit up on Musa Diabate. He's predicted 10.2. He's 12.5 in the market. And if you look at some of his trends here recently, he's kind of hovered around this number, but that will be one lit up green star upcoming here for tomorrow's game. But as always, I'm gonna give it a day. Public isn't really betting these games yet. They'll wait until they get out of work, and you'll see these tickets rise up here probably starting tomorrow. But Cade, any other final thoughts here, man? Because I know you and I are sweating Baltimore, Cleveland. We got Seattle, San Diego coming up here. Any final thoughts as we wrap up the Thursday edition of the Rithmm Rundown?
Thursday slates are slates to be degens on. You just got to find stuff even though if you don't plan on it. So no, yeah, like I said, that's the beauty of the Rithmm app. You find your green stars, you find your value wherever it is, and then you pretty much just press the go button. So that's kind of what we did for the most part. And we kind of only planned on having one game in here tonight, but like I said, that's the app for you. That's the beauty of it. So we'll see what we can do with that, with a small slate that's given to us in the late window, and hopefully we come out on the green side.
Well said, my friend. Well, as always, want to thank everybody for tuning in. Again, it's kind of tough when we only got 2 MLB games, Cade, but I thought we definitely spent a lot of good time on Seattle, San Diego. So open for the pods to keep it hot and get a win there in San Diego. But as always, want to mention everybody, Rithmm is here. Download it, tell a friend, use the refer a friend here at the top. You can both get a little sweetener. And remember, you do have promo code START25. You both get, or you get 25% off your account after that free trial ends. And if you ever want to just, create your own model, we talk about this all the time, Cade. And you introduced me to the factor library for all my models. If I go to MLB, you can bet on yourself. It's a really cool way to not just have to, like for my Josh model, which has been pretty good for me. My angles were pitcher ground outs per game, on base percentage, walks, batting average, slugging. You can pick and choose whatever criteria you see fit, and that's another way to build a model and not just tail Rithmm. Fine with that, but if you are a person who bets a sport, maybe knows a sport, you feel like, hey, the team that has the higher on base percentage is always threatening. The team that strikes out a lot is a detriment. You can test those criteria, those factors, and hopefully spit out a good model to you. So that's always available. But as always, want to thank everybody for tuning in. Cade will be right back at it next Thursday for another edition of the Rithmm Rundown, and wish everyone the best of luck. And we'll see you next week. So go download Rithmm, tell a friend about Rithmm, and Cade, hopefully we can cash some tickets and get one of those guys to hit a home run for you at a good,
That would be nice,
plus
right?
money payout, brother. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night, and we'll see you next Thursday.